What's happening, YouTube? This is Robert, and this is my 6th video in my HTML series. In this video, we're going to cover lists and everything to do with them, different types of lists, how to put items inside of those, how to nest lists inside of other lists, and attributes that'll help us along the way. We're also going to take a look at grouping content with div elements. That way we can define a group of information and show a group of information and do something, perhaps style it differently later. And finally, we'll look at block versus inline level elements. Our first tag is our unordered list, which uses the UL opening and closing tag. Our ordered list uses OL. Now these are both parents of the LI. You just insert list items inside of each of these tags depending on what you're trying to do with them. So we'll cover that. And then we'll also look at our description list, which contains a term name and a term description. The term name and term description here will be one item inside of your description list. And last, we'll also use the type and start attributes. So let's get into it. Pretty straightforward here. We're going to use the UL unordered list tag to start us off, and we're going to create a list item to put an item inside of that list. So the UL is the parent and the LI is the child. I'm going to keep things simple and just say list item 1. If you highlight everything you need up to the next line and press Ctrl-Shift-D, it'll allow you to create additional lines. And I've just numbered mine list items 1 through 4. Let's save that and take a look in the browser. This is an unordered list simply because the order of the items doesn't really matter. You're usually making a point or asking a question, something to that effect, in no certain order. So let's build an ordered list, which is just the opening and closing tag, and I'm just going to copy these list items straight in. Let's save that and go back to the browser. Refresh your page, and there you have it. You have an ordered list items 1, 2, 3, 4 for something such as a recipe where it does matter what order each step is taken. Now let's go into our description list, which is that DL tag. Remember, each one of these is going to have a term name and a term description. DT will be the term name. I'm just going to use species. The term description is a DD, opening and closing, and in this one I'm just going to put Homo sapien. Put one more DT with name and one more term description with your name. Let's save that and hop over the browser. Here's the term name and here's the term description. This is list item 1. This is list item 2. Right here is list item 2 and list item 1. Now let's just discuss the ordered list and a couple of attributes that we can use here. An ordered list is going to consist of numbers by default, but we do have additional options. What we can do is use another attribute called type. If we put the number 1 in there, that's going to give us numbers. So this is the same as this. So what I'm going to do is leave that type attribute off of this list and create an entire different list, 5 in total. So in this one, we're going to use uppercase letters. Here we'll use lowercase letters, uppercase Roman numerals, and lowercase Roman numerals. So let's save that and jump over to the browser. Once you refresh your page, you can see here that we have numbers by default, uppercase and lowercase alphabet, and uppercase and lowercase Roman numerals. We also have something called the start attribute, and the value is what number you want to start your numbered list on. Let's start it on 500. Refresh the browser, and as you can see, now we start on 500, 501, 2, 3. You can also do the same with your Roman numerals. Sadly, you cannot for the alphabet. Refresh your page. You're going to have, starting at 500 for your number list, you have ABCD capital, ABCD lowercase, you have uppercase Roman numerals starting from 1, and you have lowercase Roman numerals starting from 249. So that's it on the list and list item basic tags. But let's see how we can nest a list within another list. Here we have an unordered list, and inside of that we have our first item, which is our LI tag, and inside of our LI tag we have another unordered list followed by 3 list items inside of that list. If we wanted to, we could go down here under this one and create list item 2 of this unordered list and create another unordered list within that. So let's take a look at that. We have unordered list, list item, and inside of this list item, to identify it, I'm going to say level 1.1. Then let's create another unordered list with the list item inside of that and call this paragraph level 2.1. Let's create one last level with the third list item level. So now we have level 1.1, 2.1, 3.1, and on. As you can see, this is the entirety of level 1. And then where this UL ends is the entirety of level 2, and then where this one ends is the entirety of level 3. Let's save that and hop over to the browser, refresh our page, and there you have it, level 1, 2, and 3.1. Notice that for each nested list, the bullet point type is going to change on its own by default. And we will learn how to control that in a near future video. So let's create another list item, level 3.2, another list item on level 2, and another list item on level 1, 1.2. Let's save that, refresh, and there you have it. We have level 1.1, which contains level 2.1 and 2.2. Level 2.1 contains level 3.1 and 3.2, and then level 1.2 contains no children. So have fun playing with that. At some point you can create unordered lists or ordered lists inside of these. If I wanted to, I could go into this third one, press Ctrl D a couple of times, and change this to OL, save, refresh. Now instead of bullet points, I have 1 and 2 for level 3. And that's it on nested lists. Now let's discuss how to group content outside of a list and the difference between block and inline level elements, as well as how we can identify those in the browser. What I'll do is I'll create a div, again opening and closing tag. Inside of that div I'm going to put an H1 with my name and a paragraph. Then what I'll do is copy everything I need up to the next line, and then copy and paste that same content beneath with Ctrl-Shift-D, and instead of Robert Thiel I'm going to put my dog's name, and inside the paragraph I'll just put Wolf. Let's save that and hop over to the browser. Refresh your page, and there you have it. Robert Thiel, this is a paragraph, Woof. The browser is not going to display your div groupings in any special way to the user. That's going to be up to you later with what you want to do with each section of content. But for now, to see that, what we can do is hop up to these 3 dots here, go down to More Tools, and then the Developer Tools. Alternatively, you can press Ctrl-Shift-I or Ctrl-Shift-J. Another alternative is to right-click and say Inspect, which uses the Ctrl-Shift-I. What that allows us to do is hop into this Elements tag and see our entire page structure that we just built out. Here's the body, and if we expand that, we have our div tags, which shows that this H1 and this paragraph are sectioned off from this H1 and this paragraph. We can expand that and highlight just the H1 or just the paragraph inside of each section, or highlight the entire div. But something I want you to notice real quick is that every single one of these elements goes all the way across the page. So this H1 is going to go all the way across the page, this paragraph, same thing, and this entire div tag is also what's called a block level element. It's going to force any additional content down to the next section and take up the entire width of the page. So what is an inline level element then? We can use something called a span tag and say anything we want here. And now when we highlight the span, as you can see, it only takes up as much width of the browser as is needed for the content. So if we did go back to the browser and create another span tag, let's save that, refresh, and the second span, even though I wrote it underneath the first one, sat right next to the first one. And the reason again is because this is an inline level tag that only takes up as much width as is needed and allows other content to float up next to it rather than forcing everything else down to that next line, like the block level tag. So that's going to be it in this video. I'm going to give you time to digest all of that information and play around with it. Of course, if you're enjoying this series, hit that subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.